Hello guys, and welcome. My name is Matt, the Ultimate Mac Man, and if you've never met me before, well then nice to meet you. The reason you clicked on this video, if you don't already know me, is probably because you're wondering how to spot the differences between a real versus fake pair of Beats by Dre Pros. Well, that is exactly what I'll be doing here today in the video. You've probably either already purchased or are thinking about purchasing a pair and you'd like to be informed. That's what I'm here to do. Now, by no means do I advise the purchase of these $400 headphones because there are many other options out there that could get you a lot more for your $400 of cash. However, I would like to make this video to inform the public of the thousands of fakes that are out there from the cheap Chinese sellers. The video will consist of two main parts, the first being how to differentiate a real versus fake pair of Beats by Dre Pros. I own an actual fake and an actual real pair, which I'll be using in the comparison video. The second part of the video will give you my opinions on how the fake pair has downgraded and what the real pair offers as above the fake pair, and tell you is it worth spending the $400 if you're looking to get a pair as opposed to spending the $60 for a fake pair, which will cost you much less. So let's get into the first part of the video. One last note before we begin this review is that I cannot guarantee by following my guide that you will for sure not get a fake pair of Beats by Dre Pros. The number one way to combat this is to buy from an authorized retail dealer. This means go to your local Best Buy, Amazon.com, or Beats by Dre official website where they have a complete list of full authorized dealers, and by purchasing from them it probably means they will be paying full retail or pretty close to full retail price, but it ensures that you'll be getting an honest built full, real quality pair of Beats by Dre Pros. You can take your risks and purchase from a third-party site like I did for my fake pair, such as iOffer. As I said, since there are thousands of fakes, all the different fakes are constructed a little bit differently, so the ones you have may look a little bit different than mine, and that's why I cannot guarantee by following my guide that you will for sure get a real pair. So without further ado, let's begin. Now, a very popular way to distinguish fakes versus reals is to inspect the box at which your headphones came in. As you see here, the manufacturers of my fakes did a pretty good job of matching up it with the counterparts of the real box. Throughout the rest of the video, every picture you see on the right will denote a real headphone, and everything on the left are the fake headphones. Just remember, R right real and left is fake, and that will stay constant throughout the video. So as you see here, the manufacturers of the fake headphones did a pretty good job at keeping the headphone look constant with the real pair. However, as we zoom in this next picture, you'll see where it broke down. Now take note here on the right, you see that the real pair, the B looks much more defined and less grainy, as though on the left you'll see that the B looks a little bit more grainy and a little bit more not as precise and clear in the actual font itself. This was the huge difference on the front that I picked up right away, and that it should be a dead giveaway if you see it on yours. Now on the right side of the box you'll see another flaw where the fake manufacturer didn't pick up as well. You notice that Dr. Dre on the fake box is a little bit more faded and he looks like he's a little more darker. However, on the real box you can see a little bit more of a more clear. For example, look at the ear. On the fake box it's a little bit more faded and a little bit more blacked out, as where on the real box you can see a little bit more of the ear and there's not as much shadow covering it up. That stays true for the rest of the face, and this is actually a big note in fakes that a lot of people take note of. This is a constant on all the headphone models, which I've noticed. All the Dr. Dre's look a little bit more faded and darkened out on the fake models. Now, there's not much note on the left side of the box because most manufacturers do a pretty good job of imitating that. However, when we flip around to the back, as when I zoom in here on the UPC code, you will notice a pretty distinguishable difference between the real and fake pair. When we zoom in here on the UPC codes, you will notice that the fake pair has a much bolder font than the real pair on the right. Specifically speaking, take a look at the MHBT5 on the left and notice that the font is much more bolded as opposed to the pair on the right. The bolder font means that they are for sure fakes, as where the real ones have a more plain non-bolded font. When you pull off the jacket flap of the Beats Pros, take note of the way that the headphone image wraps around the jacket flap. This, for me, was one of the biggest giveaways. If the headphone image wraps a lot farther down than it should, then you can tell that is the fakes on the left. As take note of the right ones, as where the headphone image wraps down just about a centimeter or so, as where the ones on the left wrap down almost an inch. You want a really short headphone wraparound, which means that these are the real kind. Now when we get inside the box, first thing we're going to take out is the bag, and honestly the replica bag is almost an exact copy of the real bag. The quality was just about the same, and the only little thing that I noticed was that the actual pull string and the little metal piece on it were a tiny little different, but other than that they were just about the same and the quality was almost identical. Now when you get to the instruction manuals, I noticed a much bigger difference here. The fake pair included this really cheesy type of knockoff Welcome to the World of Monster little square packet which had nothing to do with the Beats by Dre whatsoever, whereas the real pair includes a picture of this very good looking half-naked woman sporting the Beats by Dre overpriced Pros. That was one of the big differences where I noticed that the fake pair did not have that turn it up type of brochure. Underneath the instructions you find the cleaning cloth, and I don't know if this was just my fake pair, all of them, but I noticed that the legitimate pair had actually a folded in half cleaning cloth, and the fake pair that I got included a cleaning cloth that was completely laid out and flat. Also, you'll notice where it says Monster Cleaning Cloth, the real pair has a much darker text, as where the fake pair has a little bit more of a faded text, and it just looks like it's a little bit more cheaper. They may be the same cloth, it's just the tags on them were a little bit different. Now we get down to the actual headphones themselves. Obviously the headphones will resemble the real ones the most because the fake manufacturers put in the most time and effort to make them mimic the real ones the most, because that's what people will be looking at. As you see on the top here, there's really not much of a difference. They almost look and feel exactly the same. Now on the sides here, I notice a little bit more of a difference. On the left pair on the fake, you'll notice that the aluminum surrounding the actual Beats by Dre logo, the brush part of it, is a little bit more distinctive. The lines that run up and down, you can definitely tell that they're there. As where the real pair on the right, the lines are a little bit more faded and it looks a little bit more natural. As where the pair on the left, again, looks more up and down and they look more precise and cut out, which doesn't look as nice. And the real pair, they just blend in. And then again we see the same thing on the side of the rotating ear cuff, where the regular pair, the brushed aluminum, is not as distinct and defiant, but then when we get to the fake pair, you see the brushed aluminum is very harsh and exaggerated, and you can tell that it just looks like it's not natural. The lines are much more defiant and darker, and they are very distinctive. Now here's a real deal breaker for a lot of people. As you'll notice here on the legitimate pair, there's actually a registered Beats by Dre serial number on the right ear cuff. However, when you move on to the fake pair, you will notice that there's absolutely nothing there. As you see here, it's just blank and there was not even a sticker ever placed there. However, don't let your decision totally be based on whether or not there's a serial number there, because I have seen some fake pairs with a serial number. However, that serial number is the same for all of the Beats by Dre's. So don't let this be your total deciding factor. Now lastly here we take a look at the cord, and when you look at the L-jack connector, you'll notice the fake L-jack has actually more filled in bolded font B, as where the legitimate pair of headphones sports a B that is a normal font, not as bold. The one on the left, the fake one, almost looked painted on there with some hand paints. It really didn't look good, and the one on the right you could tell was a professionally done screen printed on one. And lastly here we see a dead giveaway. Notice the cord on the right from the legitimate pair of Beats sports a 1 to 2 inch distance between the L jack and the place where the cord begins to spiral, as where the cord on the left from the fake Beats by Dre, the distance between the L jack and where the cord starts to spiral is almost 8 inches. Now that right there is a huge difference. If your cord has a long distance between the L jack and where the cord begins to spiral, they're probably a fakes, as where the real one has just a very, very short distance. So now that I've told you how to spot a fake, you're probably wondering yourself, well, they basically look the same, so why wouldn't I pay the $60 for a fake pair when I could pay $400 for the real pair? Is there much of a difference in quality? And let me start off by saying yes, indeed there is. Same stays here, though. I have the fake pair on the left and the real pair on the right, and the very first thing you notice is that the ear cups on the fake pair are very hard to unwind. They get stuck in multiple places, as where the ones on the right pair are very easy to unwind, very smooth flowing, because obviously they were the legitimate pair. This holds true to both sides of the ear cups, and they just really were a lot stickier and harder to unwind on the left side on the fake pair ones. The next thing in quality that you're going to notice is by far the real pair. The leather on the real pair is much, much more comfortable than the one on the fake pair. Even though I don't find them to be that comfortable in general, there are many more comfortable headphones out there. On the legitimate pair, the one on the real pair is a little bit more softer and cushionier than the one on the left. The left is a lot hard and really just hurts your ear. Same goes for the top. Just look at the thickness. The pair on the right, the real one, has a much thicker top, and the rubber band on the inside of it is a lot more durable, as where the one on the left is really skinny. You can completely tell the difference right there. And the one on the left squeezes your head a lot harder. I still find the one on the right to squeeze your head a little bit, and they really aren't the most comfortable. At the ones on the left, the build quality is nowhere near as good as the real pair. The fake pair has a crappy build quality, the leather isn't comfortable, and nothing along those lines. So the last question that many people are probably going to have is, how does the audio sound? And let me start off by saying that by no means is the audio of the fake ones comparable to the real ones. I'm not the biggest fan of the audio Beats has to offer in the first place, but let me say, if we're even looking for that kind of quality, it's not even going to come close in the fake pair. The fake pair does not support the kind of bass that the real pair does. It was completely muffled and didn't even have bass at all. It felt like it was just a flat EQ, as where one of the selling points for the Beats by Dre is the high, loud, booming bass. The real pair obviously sported that because they're the legitimate factory built pair, but the fake pair didn't even come close to that. The fake pair had terrible mids, lows, and highs, and everything just sounded muffled like it was behind a wall. Absolutely horrendous. And you're probably off better buying a $10 pair of earbuds from Walmart and you'll get better quality. They sound really bad and they're not worth buying whatsoever if you're looking for these. So guys, now you have seen the comparison of the fake versus real ones, and along with a test showing you the audio and the build quality. So what is my final opinion on this? And that would be, if you really would like a pair of Beats by Dre Pros, you're better off going to the store or an authorized retailer and spending the $400 on them. Now, knowing me, you probably know that there are hundreds of better headphones out there that you could get for $400 or less that sound better than the Beats by Dre's and have a little bit more comfortable build and a more comfortable ease to wear around your head. That being said, though, I want to make this video to educate the general public or anyone interested in buying a pair. This will help you a lot if you've already purchased a pair and you're interested in finding out when they're fake. And again, as I said before, if you're thinking about purchasing a pair, your best bet is to go to an authorized retailer. You'll be paying the $400, but it's worth it if you get the legitimate pair, as opposed to paying maybe $300 and getting a fake pair, which you'll then probably be stuck